Alright, Go Go Loser Ranger episode 11. It looks like we're almost at the end of this story arc. So this episode was, I say this every week, this was another solid episode, another fantastic episode, as it was crazy non-stop action from start to finish. And I love how this fight looked in this week's episode, because the camera movement, how it flowed together with the special attacks, it was really freaking great. So the whole first half of this week's episode is the Cadgets versus Peltrola, and I really love the strategy they came up with to fight Peltrola in this episode, because they need to charge their special weapons. So what they're doing is they're sort of circling around Peltrola, they're getting closer and closer, and they're tossing the special weapon to each other, so each time someone gets closer, they see if the weapon's charged, it's not, they toss it to the next person, they keep circling around him trying to get closer. So they're sort of honing in on him, which is a really great strategy. And you see some really good animation, some really fluid camera work in this episode as the fight continues. So they're trying to fight Peltrola in this episode, and during the fight, Yukino gets held hostage by Peltrola, so our heroes are trying to figure a way to save her while thinking of a strategy as well. So you have the confrontation between D and Peltrola, where it looks like Peltrola doesn't think much of D, even though he wants him to surrender and promises to take him to the promised land, offer salvation, killing him, sending him to the heavens, that stuff, which is something he offers for most of the cadets. But in this episode, you do see D's thoughts on the cadets change a bit more, where he sees potential in them, and it's the higher-ups that he doesn't like. It's the Dragon Keepers who are his main enemies. The cadets aren't a threat to him just yet, he views it as, I'm guessing. But while that fight is going on, you've got the junior first years, they're fighting the clones as well. You have some pretty good fight scenes, like you've got frickin' the click remote from Suzukiri, I believe her name is, and then you've got the girl with the holo mask. She gets a pretty cool fight scene in this episode, and then the magical wand replica. I freaking love the replicas that they use in these fights. Like, they're so unique, and there's such an interesting power set for our heroes that it makes me wonder, even though these are replicas and not the actual weapons, how powerful is the actual, like, divine tools or the divine artifacts of the actual Rangers. Like, we're seeing Blue's one here in this week's episode, but for replicas, they have some pretty wacky, silly abilities, I will say that. But Pink Keeper shows up in the episode. She kills one of the clones in the episode. And then you have this scene where she's worried about Hibiki, her brother, because, Dee's pretending to be her. She breaks their phone, and we've got that going on. So we then cut back to the fight between Peltrola and the cadets, and they've got all their weapons sort of surrounding the area, the sort of weapons around the place getting charged, and all the clones manage to destroy them. So you have this all hope is lost moment where you think, oh shit, how are they going to get out of this one, because their weapons are all destroyed. But then D with the master plan reveals that all those weapons were fakes, and it gives him and Unico a chance to jump in and actually get a strike on him and killing Peltrola once and for all. And his death scene, it's freaking gruesome. I love it. Like, they step on his eyeball, it goes squish. It's a pretty gruesome death, and I really enjoyed it when he gets sliced in half. But I also got to mention in this fight, rip to another character in this fight. Possibly, I'm not sure yet. I don't want to confirm it until we get a confirmation about the character's death in probably next week's episode, and that is Ashikawa, the old dude with the goatee and the Brock eyes from Pokemon. It looks like he might have died because he gets a blast through the chest during the fight, and everyone's worried about him. So I don't know if he's walking away from that. But then again, you have characters like Izumi, who is able to survive her injuries, although hers weren't that bad because she got medical help right away. But I did like her scene where you had Blue Keeper saying, "I've avenged you," and then smash cuts to her in the hospital dead saying, "I'm not dead yet," sort of that fourth wall break. But freaking Ishikawa may or may not be dead at this point, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait until we get the confirmation of the body. But then the second half of the episode takes a weird turn because it just comes out of nowhere, because it makes it seem like it's sort of like a time skip after the Ranger Cadet exams, because you kind of see normal civilian life. But what we soon find out as the episode continues is this is the backstory for Blue Keeper, where you see what his life used to be like before he joined the Rangers. So you find out that he used to run in a mob. He had an outing with Red Keeper. Red Keeper wanted him to join the Rangers. He said no. He kept running with the mob, and then you soon find out that he was betrayed by the mob boss, who might be another boss monster. It's a weird tentacle monster because you see them having a human disguise, and then like he's got scars across his face. Really cool human design. As soon as I saw him, I was like, yeah, this guy could be a monster. But his scars open up and it's this weird tentacle monster with a flower on the back, and that's how he gets his scars all on his face, Blue Keeper. And then he joins the Dragon Keepers in the end. Like, he gets an offer from Red Keeper saying, hey, you can rot in a cell or you can join us. So he kind of has his back against the wall and he ends up joining the Dragon Keepers. So that's the backstory for Blue Keeper. I didn't hate it, but I feel like it just kind of came out of nowhere because it was sort of, it just led into it. Like I said, it just led into it after the commercial break or after the Ishikawa scene. So there's that going on. So Blue Keeper's able to defeat Peltrola on his end. He's able to defeat the clone. I think that's most of them all taken out. What he does is he uses his divine tool, his divine artifact, and what he does is he drowns it, and then he just crushes it as well. So really cool fight scene as well. So the episode ends with D coming down saying, hey, there's one more monster left and it's me, so you're facing me now. So it looks like that next week we could see a showdown between D and Blue Keeper. And I do wonder if Blue Keeper's actually going to die because he's still very injured against the boss fight against Peltrola. So this is probably going to be the perfect time for D to either use a clone of a divine artifact, the ones that he's been collecting, or like, will he's actually got the replica, we find out. But this is probably his chance to sort of get the jump on Blue Keeper and finally take out a Ranger. So that will be an excellent way to end the core and an interesting way to end the first core of this half. So there's that. So either way, this episode of Go Go Loser Ranger I still really enjoyed. Still one of my favorite animes to watch every week. I still enjoy watching it and tuning into it. I'm definitely going to check out the dub once this core is done, and I'm going to do that. Don't know if I'll review it. Don't know if I'll talk about it on the channel, but either way, I'm still enjoying this show, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go next. So even though these Go Go Loser Ranger reviews don't do so well, thanks for showing up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Take care. Bye.